Hi, and welcome to our podcast. Today we'll be talking about the book Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, which is a horror mystery novel. Just as a warning, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you wanted to read this book and you didn't want spoilers, sorry, just plug your ears. So, Emily, you want to start out with the summary?
Okay, so in this novel, each chapter has a different perspective between Libby and her mother, Patty, and her brother, Ben. So it starts off with Libby in present, and she has depression, and she doesn't have a job, and she's always looking for money, and she's starting to run out of money because for the past 20 years, she's been living off of money that she got from
Publicity
because of her family's murder. She starts off by saying that her two sisters and her mother were murdered by her brother, or how she saw it and she ran away. And then one day she gets a phone call from a guy named Lyle who wants to meet up with her to talk about her family's murder. And usually she wouldn't say yes to talking to people like that, but she says yes because she really needs the money right now. And so when they meet up, he basically tells her that he is going to pay her to find out what really happened, because they don't believe, his club doesn't believe that her brother committed the murders. And so she says yes. So she has to talk to her brother in prison, which she's never done before, so she's nervous about that. And then the chapter switches, and it goes into Ben's life and how he's a shy kid and he doesn't have a lot of friends. He has a girlfriend.
And this is when it switches to the past, right?
Yeah, it's in the past. He has a girlfriend that his family doesn't know about. He's gone through a change where they're all redheads, but he dyes his hair black, sorry, and he's just a very outcast kind of person. And his girlfriend Deandra is pregnant with his baby, and she's always doing drugs and she's drinking. And they had planned to run away together on the night of the murders. And so Libby, we go back to the present, and Libby finds Deandra to try and talk to her about what happened that day, because she didn't even know Deandra was a person. And so she's like, okay, you were my brother's girlfriend, what happened? And Deandra's all innocent, and she says she doesn't really know what happened. He just took the fall for her so that she could live with her baby somewhere else. And he's like a hero, and he's in jail even though he's innocent. And so then it goes back to Ben, and it's in the past, and he's at his house and he's packing to leave to run away with her. And one of his sisters wakes up in the middle of the night and goes to his room, and so Deandra kills her, strangles her. It's pretty intense.
Strangles
his little sister. And Not Libby.
What's her name?
Debbie. She kills Debbie, and he doesn't do anything about it. So she's just dead. So that's how one of her siblings dies. And she doesn't know that. Only the reader knows this at this point. So it goes back into the present, and Libby is with Deandra still. And they're having dinner, and then Deandra tries to kill her because she thinks that she should have finished it from the start. And so basically she tries to kill her. She gets away, and Libby goes back to Lyle, and Lyle had found out information while she was gone about her mother. And her mother had this thing planned, so because they were going to lose their house because they were very poor and they weren't getting any income, so they were going to lose the house. And as a solution, her mom hired a hitman to kill her, and only her, so that the children could live by themselves, like in orphanage or something, to just as a way to survive, so that they wouldn't have to be homeless. But when the hitman arrives in the middle of the night to kill his mother, the other sibling, Michelle, sees, and so he has to kill Michelle too. So that's how each of her family members were murdered, and it wasn't her brother. And so basically, he's gonna get out of jail, and they're gonna live together.
All right, so very eventful book. So now that we've done that summary, we can go ahead and get into the theme. So one of the biggest themes was being close-minded doesn't get you very far, and that can be seen in Libby, because at the beginning of the book, she is desperate, she is depressed, she's been like that basically her entire life, ever since the murders happened, and there were hundreds of people knocking on her door every day and sending her letters and emails telling her that, you know, your brother wasn't the murderer, and she never listened. She was very closed off, she barely left her house, she barely got out of bed, and she was basically just a shell of a person for almost her entire life, until she finally, whether in desperation of money or a change of heart, finally started to listen and learned her lesson that her brother was wrongly accused and was in jail for all of his life for a crime he didn't commit. You want to go ahead and talk about characterization for some of them?
Okay, well, some characterization for Lyle. Libby describes him as delicate, and like he had features that were too delicate to be attractive on a man. Like he shouldn't have rosebud lips. Libby she said about herself that she was not a lovable child, and that she had grown into a deeply unlovable adult. And that if someone drew a picture of her soul, it would be a scribble with fangs. She's also short, and she has red hair. Ben, we know that he was an outcast, and he dyed his hair black at one point. I don't know why, but and he didn't really like his other sisters, but his mom, in her chapters, she would always say that it was a rare event to see him smile, or to bother his sisters at all, to tease them, but Libby could always make him smile, so she thought that Libby was always his favorite sister.
Okay, and a major symbol throughout the book is money. And money is basically the entire catalyst for everything that happens in the book. But it also symbolizes Libby's desperation, and she only accepts Lyle's offer at the beginning of the book because she will do anything for money at that point in her life. And luckily it ended in her realizing that her brother wasn't the murderer, but it also symbolizes her extreme desperation.
Some figurative language that was used was a metaphor, like he was a three-legged runt coyote and she was a tired, limping bunny. A simile, the girl was the definition of cute, like something on a cereal commercial. And then there's some imagery, for example, the sky was an unnatural purple.
And to close it off, did you like this book, and would you recommend it?
I did like this novel very much. It was recommended to me by my mom and my sister. They both read it in their free time, and I told Alex that we should have read the book. And we did, and I really liked it. I really liked the style.
Sorry.
I really like how creative it was. And yeah.
I also liked it. I thought it was really fast-paced, and there were like 5 plot twists. That you read them and you're like, wow! And I would recommend it because it was really good.
I would recommend it as well. Well,
Gillian Flynn is also the author of Gone Girl and other thrillers. So not only would I recommend this book, I would also recommend some of her other things because they're just as fast-paced.
Yeah.
And this isn't part of a series, but she is a best-selling author of a few other books.
Yeah.
Sharp Objects.
Yeah.
Gone Girl. Books like that.
Yeah, I think Gillian Flynn centralizes around that kind of theme and things like Sharp Objects. I know it's about a depressed girl as well. So I think that's just the way it goes.
So, thanks for listening to our podcast. There won't be another one, but...
Until next semester.
Oh, yeah! So, until next semester, bye!